Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Osborne here from Play Comics, a show where, I'm spending the entire time looking at video games based on comics and how well they represent that source material. So, seeing how I'm spending all this time looking at comic-based games, you might think that I'm here to talk about the PS1 Spider-Man games, or maybe the Genesis X-Men games, maybe even one of the many Capcom fighters that featured X-Men or just Marvel in general or anything like that. And while I love all of those, there's something else that is just more dear to my heart than anything else. And since I will never get a chance to talk about it on my own show, I'm glad that Matt gave me the opportunity to come here today, just so I can tell y'all why I love and why basically most of my gaming life is based on the foundation that was set by the original release of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Christmas, not 1989 when the Game Boy came out, but not too long after that, my parents got me a Game Boy. And, that was cool. I loved it. Obviously, it had Tetris coming with it because I'm an old fart, and that's just how Game Boys came when they were the big gray brick. They came with Tetris. But my parents also got me Link's Awakening. And I honestly had no idea why they got me that for any reason. Not like in a way that meant I was questioning why they got it. I just had no idea for the longest time what made them think that I would like this kind of game. I had not played anything like it before at any friends' houses, any family houses that had anything. Never played it, anything like it when we went to Chuck E. Cheese, because again, I'm an old fart. They had arcade games at Chuck E. Cheese when I was little. It's just, I don't know. And not too long ago, I asked my dad why they got me that. He said that he had asked somebody that he worked with or something what would be a good game to get me. And I have no idea who my dad asked, but whoever it is, I wish I could go give them a giant hug, because Link's Awakening not only set the foundation for how I think Zelda games should be, it's really set a foundation for how I think games should be in general. You have this game that it's throwing you into a world where I can tell from my perspective here that something is going on in this world. There is just something here that I know there's more to explore. I know there's other games. I had kind of I lied a little bit earlier to you. I had kind of played The Legend of Zelda at some other people's houses, but it was always like, hey, we're playing this and, it's boring in 5 minutes. So we go and play something else. Which, to be fair, when you're 6, 7, 8 years old and you have no idea what you're doing and you're only going to be at your friend's house for a couple hours, you want to play something that is fun. You don't necessarily want to play something that you're going to have to figure out, that you're not going to be able to come back to the same place, but Link's Awakening was my game. I could come in here and spend as much time as I wanted exploring the world and everything because it was on a Game Boy. And so I didn't have to worry about my brother and sister wanting to watch TV at all. I didn't have to worry about us going to my grandparents' house, except for the part where when we got there, I'd have to turn it off. If my brother wanted to go play something outside, I could take the Game Boy outside with me and, pretend to play with him because he's 5 or 6 years younger than me, and that would work for things. But there's just something about this game too that just makes perfect sense. It's essentially an open world game. In theory, I can go wherever I want. But they've taken this open world and really made it into a linear structure because you can't really go wherever you want. There's different things that you have to pick up in the dungeons to let you get to the next spot. There's just little pieces of the world you have to learn about that tell you where the next spot is. It's a linear game just presented in a way where you're given the illusion of choice and the illusion of being able to do whatever you want, which for somebody who's 6, 7, 8 years old, that's really all you're going to be doing anyway. Give me the linear game and let me just do whatever I need to do to get to that next level, to get to that next boss. I could sit there and I don't know how many times I would be playing at night when I should have been going to sleep, and the Game Boy batteries ran out overnight because I fell asleep while I was playing and didn't turn the thing off. My mom made the huge mistake of getting me a power adapter for the Game Boy and a light for the Game Boy, and then I could have the thing plugged in at night. So when I fell asleep with it while I was playing, I wouldn't just lose everything because the batteries wouldn't run out. And I could have that light on for the Game Boy, and it wasn't a bright enough, big enough light that it bothered my brother while he was trying to go to sleep. At least not to the point where he said anything to me about it. Just the logic in this game and how everything works. I mean, why would I have to give an alligator bananas? Why would I have to give a chain chomp dog food or a hair ribbon or give somebody a stick? I mean, yeah, it's a fetch quest in the middle of the game, but it's woven in so well that it's not like I had to go throughout everything like they do in some modern games and interrupt what I'm doing to do this little fetch quest. It's just there in the game. Everything is integrated so perfectly. Everything just makes sense. Everything is building off of what has come before it in the game. And, you have this musical theme of everything where you're getting these instruments in all of the caves and all of the dungeons, and the symphony of what you're using to get through the final boss is just building and building throughout the entire thing, because you're adding instrument after instrument after instrument to this orchestra that you have going. You have these mysterious little spots where people are telling you something's not right here. Something is weird. Why are you here? Where did you come from? You have these little nods to other games that were really my first introduction to Easter eggs. The father of the character that finds you is Mario in everything except name. There's just so many things. There's the fact that the final bosses in all of this are different forms of Link to the Past bosses. And eventually I learned that. I didn't play Link to the Past for the longest time. I still haven't finished it just because I keep getting things caught up in life, and I get to the point where I don't know what I'm doing and I want to start over. It's the curse of an over 30-year-old gamer, is that life happens. And yet I have played through Link's Awakening so many times that I could probably start playing the game, not touch it for literally years, pick it up, and know what I should be doing within about 10 minutes. When the game was re-released on Game Boy Color, I had no interest in getting it because, they added a place where you could get some clothes and it would protect you from something, and all it did was make something easier. When the game was re-released on Switch, I was very, very instantly over to my wife, Kaylee, we're getting this. You haven't played Link's Awakening. I want you to play the original one, but this is as close as I'm going to be able to get to getting you to play it. And yeah, there's a few little things in the Switch one that make it different. They don't make it better. They don't make it worse overall. It's just different. But there is just something about that little green and gray screen on the Game Boy, the two buttons that you have to mess with everything, the fact that you can't jump, like this super quintessential thing you can do in every single game. Every single one of your actions has to be super planned out, because basic things like being able to jump and being able to pick up a pot mean that you can't have a sword and a shield. Like, what other game could get away with making you pick between a sword and a shield and the fact that you can jump over a hole in the ground? And more than anything else, this game was just fair about everything. There was no, like, oh no, I walked around the corner and there was a super cheap thing. It was, I mean, maybe if you walked around a corner and there's an enemy you can't beat, okay, that's fine. Then you just walk around a different corner. Like, I never could get myself into a no-win situation. I maybe got myself into a I have to do something different situation, but it always felt like it was my fault that I couldn't get past it. It was never bad programming or bad design by the game makers. Like, Link's Awakening was my first real experience with gaming. It is what I base everything on. It is what I compare everything to now. If your game cannot get anywhere close to making me feel the way that Link's Awakening made me feel that first Christmas day when I played it on the Game Boy so long that the batteries ran out and I essentially didn't do anything productive in the game, then, like, I don't know how much time I'm going to spend with your game at all. It is a game that taught me that there is logic in what is going on in all of these games. Your logic is going to change between everything from game to game, but internally, if you have a good game, everything is going to make sense. Everything is going to flow together. And also, you can find a way to break the game, do something you're not supposed to do. Hello, shopkeeper that I stole from every single time I played, because I am a horrible person and I don't want to save up 900 rupees to get a bow and arrow. So I'm just going to steal it because I'm bad. It's also a game that taught me that you should not take your sword and hit chickens, but that's probably something that most people would know anyway. But in my defense, I had not ever met chickens when I played this game. So, take that as you will. I hope that all of you can find your Link's Awakening. Happy gaming.
Have you ever been reading through a stack of comics and thought, maybe I should see what that Arkham Asylum game is all about? Or been playing Marvel vs. Capcom and felt like you were at a real disadvantage since you didn't know who half the characters were? Well, Play Comics is the show for you. I'm Chris, and each episode we take a look at video games based on comic properties and how well they stick to that source material. So whether you know the comics and want to know how all those games work, or you know the games and want to find out where all this craziness came from, go check out Play Comics at playcomics.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.